Here says that we are live on the internet, and so if you are tuning in to Facebook this afternoon to hear a few thoughts about the offering here in the Showcase the Influence, we welcome you to the Facebook Live dialogue with Jim McCoy. I'm joined by Jim McCoy to my right and Mickey Bellamy to my left. Of course, Mick represents the National Swine Registry. We found out that he is now the field service representative for the entire country. Which makes him the Southwest representative, virtually for everyone. You're not going to comment, are you? He's not going to comment. Okay, fair enough. We're going to get that out of the way at the beginning since no one's probably watching yet anyway. And to my right is Jim McCoy. And if you don't know who Jim McCoy is, you're missing out. One of the most trusted guys here in the business. And we were giving him a hard time last night at dinner that he's a consultant now. And we kind of felt like maybe the consultant would buy dinner. I think in a lot of places, the consultants buy dinner.
I'm so new at it.
Okay. Different book. So anyway, this is going to be really informal. We've had a very fun group of folks here at the farm this afternoon. We've had a really good time looking at some of the stuff in the offering. And then if you're Don R. Smith, you've seen everything that's not in the offering. And if anyone in the Facebook audience wants to know which pin SAO 81-4 is in, Don can probably flip through his 74 pages of notes and tell you exactly where 81-4 is because he spent the whole day roaming around. But we've had a good time.
Wore the bell out on his collar.
He wore the bell out on his collar. He also wore out, have you noticed that that's the 5th pair of plastic boots he's put on?
Yeah.
Every time he gets a hole in them, I see him at the trash can changing them out. And that's the 6th Diet Coke he's had. Since he's been here. But we really appreciate the folks that, Mountain Dews. We appreciate the folks that have invested time to come. Karl and Boots and I were talking last night. I think, in the digital age, and Jim, I don't know if you'll agree with this or not, in the digital age, we've made some things easier, but we've made information so readily available that a lot of folks don't ask questions anymore because I think in a weird way, we've attempted to answer questions before they're asked in our effort to provide commentary, to provide video, to provide pictures, to provide pedigrees, and then to provide a catalog with information. We've made so many of the answers already there for folks before they have the question. So in that sense, there's a lot of folks that didn't come today because they couldn't be here. And in that effort, we're going to just try to walk through the catalog in a pretty casual format and let Jim and Mick give you a few opinions. I'm just going to start out by telling or reminding you kind of how this sale started. I think what we learned here at the Hill in our operation, the Built the Brand sale really was an incredible platform. It's become an incredible platform to showcase our breeding program, to showcase our sows. And historically, in the summertime, it's been a great time to sell crossbred females. Historically, it has not been a great time to sell purebreds, Jim. And so part of what really spawned the Showcase the Influence sale a year ago was a chance to put our purebred sows on the same platform, Mick, as we had done with our crosses. And so to that effort, we established the Showcase the Influence sale a year ago. It was very successful by all of our measure. And then in addition to that, we invited some of our friends to consign crossbreds to sort of add some dimension to the sale and sort of bring out the whole HH influence piece. So that's where we're at. Jim, Mick, you've got the mic. I'll give you a chance to maybe make a few opening comments here on the offering, and then we'll move through a few lots.
Well, as Jesse said, last winter, a year ago right now, we started the influence sale here, and there was a tremendous set of purebred females in that sale. Crosses too. Jesse won't offer them to you unless they've got some value and they can't help make your hogs better. But I think for these winter and spring litters with the state fairs and the large national events that we have in the summertime, I think you've got a tremendous opportunity here today to add some purebred females that are mated to some of the very elite boars in the industry and just have a chance to compete in those shows when they happen this summer, or try to get some return on your dollar at the spring pig sales. The guesswork's taken out for you. We went through these sows earlier today. The majority of them are showing very good litters. Jesse and his crew will back them 100%, I'm sure. But this is a very good set of purebred and crossbred females both, with some excellent open gilts that'll be coming in towards the end of the sale.
So I'm going to pass the mic to Jim. Jim was here last night, had a chance to see some of the offering yesterday, and then again today. He spent some time there in the old pickup, making some notes and making some calls, and I'll let Jim make a few comments here at the start.
Well, again, appreciate Jesse having me out here to work through this. When I saw what he was doing there last year in this the influence sale with the customers, I basically said I'd really like to come to that, and then he had me do the consultant thing with it, and we kind of run with it since then. But it's always enjoyable to come out here to the hill, and the sow herd is incredible. And there's not just 5 of them. There's 600 plus. I don't know. We've got lost count. I don't know how many you really have. You don't like to count. No, it's dangerous. But anyhow, the depth of quality is always so good, and the elite end extends so deep into the herd, and not just what he's keeping, but what he's selling, and he's offering up each time some incredible breeding pieces, and the pures and crosses alike, and we'll visit about them here a little bit. And there's types and kinds. You like them elevated and neat looking, you like them stout and bold and box him, and there's all kinds to head you in the right direction.
Thanks, Jim. So I think just for ease of sorting, the folks here in the room have got a catalog. If you have access to a catalog at home, you might reference that as we go through them. But real quickly, we'll go through some of our offerings starting here at the beginning. And naturally, we started with Hampshires. Our brand was built around the belt, was built around the Hampshire breed. And those that know me best know that I've always had some passion for this breed. It's been on the hill. It's been part of this land since well before me. My grandfather had Hampshire sows here on the hill in the 50s and 60s, and so that's been a big part of my heritage, and it will forever be part of my love for this business. And the Hampshire breed has been very good to us the last couple of years. Reaching back, we bought a boar from the Norman firm called Top Gun. We bought Top Gun in an effort to have a breeding piece to use on the Fecky sow herd, essentially. We had a few pieces left of our own. We acquired the Fecky sow herd, and in that effort, we basically turned Top Gun loose. And the result of that now is a pretty line-bred group of Hampshire females that have got a lot of Top Gun influence. And I say all that because we're actually going to sell one that doesn't, and I think that makes her very unique in this situation. Lot 1 is an open bar, Click 285. Been a very prominent female. If you see her today, I know Jim got to see her yesterday and had a lot of thoughts about her, but she still looks very youthful in her kind. She's bred really unique. She's already got a couple big wins on her resume. She's bred to a very interesting boar, Jim, that you got to see as well. And I guess to play off the Wentz sale last night relative to Rumble and his influence, I think this is a really neat opportunity to buy a Hampshire female that is not only is her pedigree free of Top Gun, but she's also bred to a boar that's free of Top Gun and puts her in the driver's seat for something very different.
Well, yeah, this sow really lit me up. I mean, she's got that old school generator look, the length of front and out in front of her blade, the skull shape and the generating look she has out of her skull, and levelness of design is so good, and her reach off her hind leg is excellent. And Jesse has lined these things up, and we kind of learned way back in the day, lining them up and lining up sow families is kind of what it's about, and keeping them as line bred as you can, but then blowing some air across that thing and allowing yourself to get some new blood in there. This is a great opportunity to possibly get that done. This one really looks like a generator, and I think she's on her way up in my estimation what she might get accomplished here in the future.
Share some thoughts about Rumble Strip. Mick, you saw him at the Missouri State Fair. We did not get him pictured. It just never worked out. But we went to collecting him right away, and this is actually one of the very first litters we'll have.
Yeah, Rumble Strip was the champion boar there at the Missouri State Fair in August, and he's a very unique. I'm not a big fan of that word, but I find myself using it a lot. He's really got true Hampshire muscle shape. He's very sharp-fronted. He's really attractive from his blade forward, but he has the ability, with all the look and muscle that he's just got an enormous rib cage. I mean, he's got a big rib cage. He's got shape. He's sound. He's really neat looking from the side. Just after viewing this sow earlier today, she looks like she was put on this earth to be bred to boars that are built like Rumble Strip.
I agree, and I hope that we can get a picture here before the weather turns, and you'll have a little better idea about that young herd sire. But we're excited to have him. Very excited about this sow, and I'll make one final comment, and Boots talked about this in the commentary if you listen to him. To see this sow, those that are not a fan of her ear set, Don, probably think that she looks too down-eared and not right for her kind. And I promise you that both matings to throwback, those pigs were as tight-eared, erect-eared, and right for their kind as it gets. And I really don't see her ear as a problem going forward. Jim shaking his head, no, I don't think it's a problem. So if that concerns you in the video, rest assured that that has not been a problem going forward. If you turn the page to lot 2, that's a parachute sow that's been very, very prolific in the crate. Her maternal ability is off the charts. She had a huge win a couple summers ago. She's the mother of the Hogue Gilt that was reserve Hampshire and 5th overall at the junior show. Those that were in attendance would all agree that that was a phenomenal Hampshire Gilt show in Louisville, and a daughter of her ended up second there in that show. So I sure don't think, that sow, I'm afraid, will probably fly under the radar, but she doesn't need to be, because the folks, if they've got one complaint about the Hampshire breed over time, Mick, is that they weren't maternal enough. They didn't raise pigs. They didn't breed. They didn't do all of those things. This sow defies that. She will breed. She will farrow. She will raise pigs, and she's obviously raising the right kind.
Well, she's very basic and fundamental and productive in her look, and there's that will never go out of style. I mean, we can find boars out there to change certain areas in sows when we go to mate them, but this thing, she's feminine, she's big-bodied, she's got a great hip and hind leg in her. She's something that we don't talk about enough. I'm not sure how many parodies she's had. I would guess several. Just the way her underline dries up and tightens each time after she has pigs, not tightens but cleans back up. That's worth a lot, and we don't talk about things like that very often.
So that's lot 2. And lot 3, I'm going to let Jim make a couple comments about lot 3, because she is the only one of the Hampshires of our offering, and we'll talk about the Savage offering here in a second. She's the only one in our offering that's bred to 345. That's a boar that we're very proud of here at the farm, very proud of for our program. Jim, you got to see him on the grass today. I think you probably understand why I made the comments that I did in my footnotes, if you've read those. But we're excited about that boar, and I think this is a great opportunity to tie into a young Hampshire female.
Yeah, this is a killer mating here. The 345 boar they're talking about, I mean, that one there, we talk about communicating and asking questions, and people have seen something, and it's great to ask all of us who have seen him if you like our opinion or whatever, but you really need to see that one in person. That one's incredible. An old school hind leg that's absolutely perfect in the way it bends and flexes back with the length of stride behind his tail head the way it needs to be. Big set of bones, clean joints, good feet, the right kind of skeleton. Everything is just built in the way it needs to be. And then you put it on a female like this, underline starts right behind that foreleg, and has a very productive look, but a sharp kind of a look that still has show ring presence, and just looks like one of, it should be just an absolute tailor-made mating. It should be very good.
I think that's one that if you're in the Hampshire business, I hope you're paying attention to that opportunity. As we turn the page again, we may come back to the 352 boars, but I want to jump ahead to lot 5. This is a sow that we probably didn't promote well enough at the start. She was the mother, or is the mother, of the champion Hampshire Gilt at the exposition last summer for the Platt family. And this young sow, she's had 2 litters. She's carrying her 3rd. She's bred to the Tripod 352 son. Incredible sow. She's been very good in the crate. She's obviously raised the right kind already for the show ring. She's a Lion Share daughter. Lion Share had a phenomenal run there early, and we lost him way too soon. But I don't know if either one of you have any comments on this sow here, but from a Hampshire female standpoint and a mating, I think that's certainly one that you need to pay attention to. And then as you keep flipping, we've got 6 and 7. Lot 6 is the only one bred to exclamation in our group. And I know the Savage, when we get to the Savage consignments, we'll talk about exclamation. Of course, that's the boar that Platt has there at Upper Hand. That would be a litter mate to both the champion and reserve Hampshire Bears at Louisville last summer. So lot 6, pay attention to that Diablo sow. If you were here at the farm today, you got to see a Tripod son out of her. There's also a 345 son out of her that's on feed. She's done a really good job, and that's a neat sow, kind of an old school looking Hampshire. Great big head, does a great job in the crate. And then lastly, there's a Top Gun daughter that rounds out our Hampshire offering. As we keep turning, we'll get to the Red Hogs, and I know we've got some Duroc enthusiasts here, and I wish Max was here to talk about a few of these. But the first one, lot 8, this sow originated from the Jacobson firm, and I think most importantly, and I would tell you that 2 things. First, she was bred to slow drip. For her first litter, we kept a daughter, and that sow has done an outstanding job through 2 litters. And I think that really speaks volumes to this sow's ability. And then secondly, she's the mom of the boar in the bid-off this summer that Olson's bought. Jim, you had a chance to see him. That was a Scuba Steve son that they call tailor-made. He's in the catalog. And this sow is bred to a young Statement Day boar that we've got that's across from her there in the catalog that I think has a very, very bright future. Statement Day bred back to his grandma. So if you're into the Red Hogs, I know her due date is a little later. And Boots and I talked a lot about those later due dates in the commentary. You know, February used to sort of be no man's land in a way until you start to consider the fact that a February-born pig now is the right age for nearly every show that starts from Labor Day until North American that just happened. So pay attention to your business here. A February-born red one, I promise you, still has a lot of value, and I hope you're paying attention to that here on 3-1. The first red one that we're going to sell, Mick, is 328-9. She's an unforgettable. I think you would have seen her there today. And then lot 10 and 11, both of those, I would call those power sows that are on the next page there, page 18. Lot 10 would be a maternal sister to the brake light sow that's been the absolute anchor of our program. She's a tank, and she's bred to Waymaker. We actually used Waymaker quite a bit. I'm very excited about the opportunity to get some pigs out of that boar. I loved him there at the expo. I think that's a perfect mating for her. And I bet one of you two, Mick, probably has an opinion about that. But lot 10, she is a tank, and she's bred to Waymaker due the 22nd of November.
Yeah, this sow's so good looking. She's got muscle. She's got shape. You know, for an older Duroc sow, that Waymaker boar at Des Moines just hit me so hard. I mean, to have the kind of build that he did with that kind of heaviness of structure and still for the way his neck tied into his shoulder and the extra long, neat look that he had up front, his jawline and everything, to be as heavy structured as he was, you know, I think that boar's a perfect match for this sow, and I can't even imagine. I'm excited to see what he can do here on the hill for the Heimer family and for the breed in general. That was a very good boar, one of the elite boars of the summer.
And then lot 11 here is bred to Burnin' Roses, and I know, Jim, you were here for the deal last summer and saw those boars, and then you saw Burnin' Roses' mom in the dirt lot, and she's not in the sale. But she is my favorite red sow on the farm. Don R. Smith, he tried to get her loaded when some of us weren't watching, but we caught him in the act. Incredible sow. I'm very, very, very pumped about Burnin' Roses because of his mom. Yeah,
I got to see the Red Hogs here several times last summer, traveling for the draft and looking. We got to see that Scuba Steve boar you talked about that went to stud, and Burnin' Roses, and we actually were able to feed, fortunate enough to feed a little Bear, won his class at Columbus, and you said exactly the same thing back then. That 381 is his absolute favorite sow, and if you again, another one you really need to see in person. She's showing heavy out there also. But Burnin' Roses, I talked to Chad Day there at the summer conference, and right after he bought that boar online, and that was his favorite every time he came out. And that was an incredibly heavy structured boar, and we're going to be one of the outliers here next summer that you're really going to hear a lot of things from. So this again should be a killer mating again with this sodbuster sow. That's everything's made. He put these sows together, made them as if he was going to sell those pigs himself or try to keep gilts on him himself, not just to make a power mating to try to sell something, but try to make the right mating to make the best hogs.
Thanks for that, Jim. I do think that's always important. I think, onlookers might assume that some of these matings are only made because it makes sense to sell them that way. The flip side of that is, and the guys at the farm can tell you, that we didn't pick a lot of these sows out until long after they were bred. And so there's a lot of planning that goes into this after the fact, and we sort of had to run with how we mated them, and we mated them to Faro here. So I think that's a great point to bring up. Just one housekeeping item. We've had a couple questions via text. There is a sale order posted. You can go to Facebook, our Facebook page, to find the sale order. You can go to CCI, to the CCI sale page, and find the sale order. They will not sell in lot order tonight. There is a sale order posted. So if you're wondering what order they sell, please find that sale order and follow along with that. Next, we're going to move into the Berkshires. And, I struggle a little bit with the Berkshires. The Berkshire breed, I think for our operation, they're the easiest ones to raise. They take the least amount of maintenance. They take the least amount of effort. They do a phenomenal job in the crate. They are tough pigs that handle any environment. They're a breed that has come so far relative to quality. I think that, there was a time when Berkshires were never considered in a Grand Drive. And today, for Supreme, You see Berkshire females competing all the time. We had a Berkshire Bear that was Reserve Grand at Kansas City just a few years ago, Reserve Grand overall. And, you know,
Get me started on that one.
don't get you started. You need the mic?
No, that was the best one there then.
That's his sister. So, but my point is I feel like in some ways interest in the Berkshire breed seems stagnant, and I'm not really sure why. And the Colonel's back here, sort of, I don't know, that's a shake yes or a shake no, I'm not sure. It's a little stagnant, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why folks aren't as excited about raising this breed because, again, not that any of this is easy, but the Berkshires of all breeds, at least for us, they do what they're supposed to do. And I say all that just to reference because I think these females that we have in here are incredible. And I'll be honest, these aren't the only good Berkshire females that we have, but these are the ones that we felt like fit this opportunity, and these are tremendous females for anybody that wants to be competitive in the Berkshire business. And this is not a soapbox speech. This is just a reminder that I think these are really good Berkshires, and we've struggled to get people excited about this part of our business, and we've had as much success in the Berkshire ring as we have any. And I don't want to beat a dead horse here and wear you out on what these sows have done because it's all here in writing. But Jim, maybe you have some comments. I feel like you're holding back here. But.
Yeah, I got just a few because I can remember everything almost goes back to 47-1, the Barnum sow.
27-1. Yeah.
27-1.
Yep. You were real close.
Yeah,
close.
the year I judged the junior gilts at Indiana, I made a Berkshire gilt champion. I believe the Jackson family show. She was sixth overall, and I believe Ted Laird buys her for $20,000 to light his Berkshire program up, and it all goes from there. And I mean, you know, we talk about our
this was a daughter of her.
Okay, the shotgun wedding, yeah.
And the Colonel sitting back here not to interrupt, but when the Colonel was here some 5-6 years ago, there were 5 Berkshires up here in the half pin of the hoop, right under the curtain, and he stood there for a very long time studying those 5 sisters. They were all out of that sow.
Yeah, it's, you know, and it's, you start with a generator and then build from that and then continue to go. And, you know, we talk about slat barn purchases, and I bought some of them myself last year, and they're very productive. We bought them for the meats quality thing, but they'll make show pigs, and it's a very good show pigs. And like Jess said, they're tough and they're built right. And there needs to be excitement in the Berkshire breed because the dual purpose of winning hog shows and doing the meat quality thing, and they can raise pigs and they can regenerate. And there's many lines to do it. They all kind of go back to one eventually, if you really study back far, but there's still offshoots of it to be able to do it. There's great opportunity here with the level of power that he's got in his handful he's got in his sale today.
The only other thing that I will tell you, and this goes for all breeds, but if you are buried in crossbreds and you are spinning your wheels in the crossbred business and you're trying to carve out a place in your show pig enterprise, no matter how big or small you are, and you're looking for a situation to help improve your pig crop, add a breed, add a purebred sow, add a breed of pigs that can give you some diversity and some extra dimension to your crop. And I would highly encourage you to consider a Berkshire, especially something from this set of sows. So they're proven, they're backed by a tremendous sow family on the bottom side. And most of these sows, the mating history there will give you the roadmap of what you need to do going forward. So, Mick, I think that brings us to the TAMs. And I feel like you're probably the guy that needs to talk about them.
I will talk about that one all day long. I don't see a lot of Tamworths, I'm not going to lie. This lot 18, this 10-8, I don't care what color she is. I don't care when she was born or where she came from. You cannot look at that thing and not just have a strong feeling about her. I mean, if she's belted, if she's down-eared, if she's solid white, if she's whatever, that heifer's flat good. And that set of Tamworth sows is really good. Her littermate sister's right across the page from her in the sale, and she doesn't have to take a back seat to anything. I can't believe I just sat up here and raved about Tamworths, but I did. This set of Tamworths
NSR Fieldman, folks.
is incredible. I am the NSR field rep.
You just changed.
I
that
did.
Was clever.
I did. Thank you. These Tamworths are there. If you have any interest in getting in the Tamworth business, you've got a heck of an opportunity tonight to do it and do it right.
And here's the reality of the Tamworth business. You know, your kids, they'll tell you before you have kids that when you have kids, they're going to want what you don't have, regardless. I mean, if you've got something blue, they're going to want something green. And naturally, we had a lot of belted pigs here, Jim, and Max wanted red ones. I mean, he wanted Durocs, and it didn't take him long to figure out that that was his breed, and he wanted something different. And when Harper came along, she didn't want anything to do with anything Max did. And she gravitated to something different. I brought a Tam Guild home for her one day. We bought her online from the Bratton crew, and that was the start of it. And in true fashion, my guys know that we hoard females. We didn't sell any for quite a while. Tried to build a base to make sure that we could make competitive Tamworth show pigs. And this is really, really the second time that we've shared some of these. So we shared a few last year. We shared the Bratton sow last year. We shared a couple this summer. We're going to kind of dip our toes in this and share a few more, but take advantage of this opportunity here to jump in and be competitive in the Tamworth ring right away.
And not only are those sows really good, this boar they're bred to is he's kind of set himself apart in that breed just with his general phenotype and the areas that he can change hogs and make them better and make them competitive in the show ring while still being productive and growing and all those other things that we don't talk about anymore.
So before we get into crossbreds, I'm going to jump ahead and we're going to go straight to the consignor lots, and we're going to go to lot 108. And I'm going to jump ahead of the crosses, and we're going to stay in the purebred realm here and jump to 108. And this is the Autry consignment. And I really appreciate Brad Autry and their crew for participating again. You know, Brad sold a sow in this sale last year. I think, Karl, she was a pretty unassuming sow. She wasn't one that overwhelmed anybody, but that sow had a phenomenal run last year. Was the mother of several winners there in Ohio. Did an awesome job. Third overall barrow, I believe. Third overall hamster at the Ohio State Fair last summer was out of the bred female that Brad Autry sold a year ago. And Brad was very committed to the sale again and is offering a very, very good female. She's a Grand Prix, New Day coming, and she's bred to Son of a Sinner. Karl and Boots are over here out front here, and we were all together when we studied Son of a Sinner. We were trying to decide a couple days ahead of time if we should take him to Louisville. And to be real honest with you, we weren't convinced that boar would go to Louisville and want to be in Louisville. We were too afraid that he would go off feed, and too afraid he would act like a boar, and too afraid that he would do all the wrong things. And we elected to do the safe thing. We kept him home, which is we're pretty accustomed to doing the safe thing. We left him home, and Chad Day was through again for a second time, and it worked out for that boar to go to Top Cut. I think Chad is very happy to have that boar at Top Cut. He was very popular this summer. His two aunts, the 313 sows in the sale, are litter mates to his mom. And so I think this is a great opportunity here to tie into a Hampshire female again that's due right in the wheelhouse of popularity for a due date and bred to a great boar there in Son of a Sinner. And speaking of Son of a Sinner, the Beyer guys, Brady Byers here from Minnesota, they're offering a tremendous lion's share female that's also bred to a Son of a Sinner. And I hope for those of you that pay attention to pedigrees and that understand what pedigrees mean and why they're important, and I think in our species, even more so than others, those of us that breed them, we rely on the pedigrees, Jim. At least I have to this point in my life. And if you understand pedigrees, pay attention here, because she's a lion's share Top Gun coming home. The coming home is out of Tripod's mom. Okay, the coming home is also out of a Son of a Sinner's grandma. So Son of a Sinner is out of a daughter of the same sow. So you've got a lined-up mating here. I think they did a phenomenal job of putting together a very attractive Hampshire female here that's bred for success. She's due the 19th of December. It looks like those guys got semen out of the same collection, which I thought was very interesting. When I was putting the catalog together, I thought, they got semen on the same day. So thank you, Chad, and Kyle and the crew there at Top Cut, Tim, for making that happen. But kudos to those guys on a very, very neat pair of consignments that I think are bred extremely good. They're bred to a neat boar, a herd sire, and they're due at an opportune time. Next up is the Went consignment. The Colonel's here to sell the sale tonight, and fresh off of a big auction last night there at home. Very excited that Kevin elected to put something in our sale, and I knew, certainly didn't expect him to, wanted to invite him, and sure didn't expect him to, knowing that he had his own sale, but he too is offering a tremendous Hampshire female. And, I think the beauty of these three females is They look like females. They look like the kind that are going to perform and going to do their job. Kevin bred his to Fundamental, and Fundamental is a boar that was bred here. He's a Roar son that went to Upper Hand. He's a mate to Brantley's champion there at Expo, also a mate to the Lancaster Bear that was 4th overall at Expo, and then he was champion Hampshire and 4th overall at Springfield. Kevin bred his to Fundamental, and I know, Kevin, you sold several last night that were bred to Fundamental. That's the boar that you tied into, and I know you had a great appreciation for how he was bred and the phenotype that he offered. That boar was very elevated. I would say he's not quite the opposite of Son of a Sinner, but very different kind of pig, and I think a very complimentary boar for Kevin's consignment here, lot 111. So, again, just to reiterate, those are 3 tremendous females that are being offered. I think they really represent the HH influence, and especially the buyer consignment. That one's got HH top and bottom, and very proud to offer that trio. And with that, we're going to sidestep here for a second, and we're going to talk about a couple of Durocs, very celebrated red ones that Don R. Smith consigned. And this is a choice lot, and I do want to make sure that everyone understands that Don is willing. You're still willing, right, to sell one of these? Yes. That was a definitive yes. I wasn't sure we'd get that this morning. Yeah, I thought he was backpedaling. He was outside walking around pacing, and I thought he was backpedaling, but he is still committed to selling choice of lot 112, Kevin. Don't let him back out before the end of the night. He's going to sell choice of these 2 tremendous Duroc females. Both of them are Statement Day daughters, which I think really speaks to his success as a sire. If you read my footnotes about Statement Day, I kept it pretty short and sweet, but it's been a really fun ride with that boar. And I don't know if Jim or Mick, if you've seen these or have some comments on them. Mick has not seen them, but I know Jim's got some comments on these 2 red females that Don's offering. Kevin's seen them. They're really good. So he'll talk about them tonight in the auction.
Colonel Wynn has seen them, and he'll let you know there at sale time exactly what he thinks. And I visited with Don there a little bit ago. We had some other calls and wanted to get out and reach out to people and let them know. And Don is obviously torn. It's always hard for a true hog breeding mentality to let go of really good females, but he's willing to at least let you have one of them, whichever one you want. I know that the lot 112A, Don had made the comment, that should be an incredible generating female and be the one to probably make you the elite females. At least that's what you would anticipate. In the other one, again, another highly generating looking kind of a female that he would anticipate to probably be the one to give you a stouter boar. So again, a little opportunity there to go either direction you want to. You take the choice at sale time.
So thanks, Don, for doing that. Nick, you got a comment?
Yeah. I just wanted to talk about Statement Day for a minute. He was the champion boar there at Louisville a couple of summers ago, not this past summer, but in 2022, and he broke the record. And that's all fine and dandy. But the thing that hog has done, a lot of hogs have brought a lot of money and they don't sire real well. That boar has been premier sire at every national show that we've had. The influence and the impact that he's going to have in this breed has a chance to be second to none ever. I mean, he's going to be in the pedigrees of these red hogs for generations. He's a true breeding hog. His second pig crop this fall was very well received. People are still using him hard. That hog has some serious value, and if you have an opportunity to get in on some of that, you sure need to do your best to try to do it. Max and Jesse and the Heimer crew, they made an all-time breeding hog there.
It's been a fun ride, Mick. Thank you. And I believed in that boar because of his mother, and obviously the Green Bottles deal has been very good, and obviously there's some Green Bottles influence there. But that sow was incredibly unique, Jim. I know you got to see her. Mick got to see her. And she had 3 litters. She had 3 litters. She made herd boars in all 3 litters that all had some similarities. They were all outliers in their own kind of way. And based on what we've seen, I think they're all going to make an impact. And it's a very, very big testament to her. We miss her. But we're going to keep moving on. And excited about that offering, Don. Thanks for that. And next we're going to talk about the Savage Group. And, Todd, it's no secret that Todd and I are good friends. We've been friends a long time. And when Todd and his crew, Todd and Donnie and Jimmy and Blake decided to get in the Hampshire business, in only true TK mode, they did it very unorthodox and very unconventional. It was almost kind of like garage sailing is what I would call it. He picked up a piece here and picked up a piece there, and he dabbled with this one and dabbled with that one. And I don't say that totally lighthearted, because it was his approach, their approach, and from that they have assembled a very unique set of Hampshire females. And the most important thing that I'm going to say about that set of Hampshire females, and Kevin, I know you will appreciate this, and Jim will appreciate this, our breed, the Hampshire breed, is not blessed with a very big gene pool. And we all collectively have to have appreciation for what diversity we have left. They don't all have to look the same. They certainly don't all have to be bred the same. And we have to have appreciation for those that want to take a little different approach to doing it. And if we don't do that collectively as breeders, we're going to be left with a set of circumstances that will not have a great future. So my encouragement to you is to take a look at the diversity here in the Savage offering from a genetic standpoint. Take a look at the different pedigrees, the different phenotypes, the different kinds, the different stories, and take the piece out of there that you need to add some diversity to your program, because it's there. We've had a great working relationship with the Savage crew, and I don't know a lot about these sows. I know Todd and Blake and Donnie could tell you a lot about these sows, and I'm not going to pretend that I know a lot about them. But what I do know is that Todd has been here enough that he's seen the herd boars. Todd likes his kind. Karl and I, we chuckle a lot. We could be moving boars around here that Todd's never seen, and we will reference this one. TK is going to like this one, and we probably shouldn't waste our time showing him that one, because he won't have any appreciation for that flat-ribbed, not round-ribbed one that just doesn't fit him. So, look, I'm not going to tell you how to buy these. I'm just going to tell you that you need to appreciate them, and you need to appreciate the opportunity here to be in the Hampshire business. They had the champion Hampshire bear at the North American the other day. They had and that pig was a rumble, I believe. They had a bear that won his class at Kansas City that I saw, that won that lightweight class, and then they were second in the class behind Max. Both of those were very good Hampshire barrows, and I know as they continue to grow their numbers, they're going to have more Hampshire gilts out there in the show circuit. That's right. They won the Hampshire gilts at the Texas State Fair. So here recently, they've been on a very good run, and they're sharing some very key females that have been part of their building approach here that they're sharing. And I know if you have questions, please reach out to Todd and Blake. Jimmy will probably give you all yeses, and Donnie will probably give you all nos. So I would suggest you probably land somewhere between Todd and Blake if you want to get the true story. So tremendous set of Hampshire females. That's the Savage consignment. And I do want to point out, Mick saw him. So Mick can give you, if you have some thoughts here, Mick, chime in.
Yeah, Jesse was talking about how Todd has reached out to do this and do that. And I will say that he has used some pretty diverse genetic lines. He's done some diversity in things in those hogs. But when you go down there and you go through his sow lots and you look at them, they're all kind of cut from the same mold. They're basic, they're complete, they're fundamental, they're sound. If they're not sound and they don't have some rib cage, they're going on a trailer, and Joe Simpson's going to get to sell them again at Leach on that Friday. So
you reckon Donnie ever gives them too much feed?
No. But they're in good condition to go in the crate. What Donnie might do is sneak one out of there that Todd's not ready to let go of yet. If she bites him on the leg or doesn't act right when he's out there doing chores.
If
she looks at Donnie cross-eyed, that heifer's in trouble.
Do you know why he didn't come today? Because he got to sell feeder pigs today. He had a chance to come here for the day and goof off with the rest of us and enjoy an auction and represent his pigs. You know he stayed home?
Well,
because he likes culling stuff.
Of those three guys, somebody gets to do chores every day, and I'm going to let you guess who two of them aren't.
Yeah. Do they have a card?
They might. They might.
Do they ever use it?
I don't know. I'm staying out of that.
So
one.
in all good fun though, Mick.
Good set of sows.
I do just want to emphasize that they've got one bred to exclamation. They've got one bred to 345. That 7-liter sow. That one is the most HH influenced one of the bunch. She's a hands down. She's a hands down of the gilt that was champion at San Antonio for Grant Lackey, and then she's bred back to 345. So if you've got an appreciation for a pedigree there, pay attention, because that's a very line bred. They've got one bred to 352. They've got a couple of them bred to Blackstone there at Top Cut. So study your lesson. Pay attention here to this set of Hampshire sows. Lots of opportunity, Jim. And, I just want to emphasize that we collectively as breeders in this breed, we have got to keep some genetic diversity. Because if we don't, we're going to be down the end of that funnel, and we can't get back up, Mick. Especially with our wonderful policies that we have.
When your gene pool gets so shallow that you can't get your pinky toe wet in it, it's not very deep.
Blake, you might want to write that one down. Blake, you might write it. Do we need to repeat it?
Every one of our breeds needs to be very cognizant of this. It's a gene pool can't ever be deep enough, and some of them are getting a little shallow, guys. They really are. Reach out and do something different every now and then.
Oh, Jim. Oh.
Now, I'll allude a little bit to what Jesse talked about the innovative thinking and all the hogs looking different within the breed. I've never seen a breed that has looked so different from one end of the class to the other, and they're not all wrong. They're different kinds, so you can not paint yourself in the corner, do all the same kind. Innovative thinkers is what Hampshire breeders have always been. I know Todd sent me a picture of this, and don't shy away from because she's open, but this 249-1, it's lot 115. I know Todd thinks the world of that one, being a real outlier breeding piece, and she has that kind of a look, that three-dimensional kind of a look. So again, study your lesson a little bit, reach out on a little different pedigree, and come out there. It's a very frustrating breed to raise, but very, very rewarding. And Jesse's gotten the deal done to where, again, you need to see these sows out here sometime, and these ones that are being offered here today and back through his program, again, just take advantage.
I will comment that we bought the open consignment from Savage last year, the open gilt, and she's a 10-litter sow. She was bred at 345 this time, had a phenomenal litter. We took a gilt to Oklahoma that I'll be anxious to see how she ends up in the show ring. So that was a great purchase. And she was an open gilt, much like 115, lot 115 that Jim just mentioned is their open gilt consignment.
That one can make somebody famous. I have not seen one like her. Good, bad, or indifferent. She's not going to win a pig show today.
Hey, and you wouldn't have to be a Hampshire breeder to be famous.
No. That one has some incredibly unique pieces. I just used my two least favorite words, back to back.
Back to back. So we're going to jump back here real quick and try and work through a few of these crossbred sows, Jim. We're going to jump back to some of the HH consignments here, go to lot 23, and just want to give you a few highlights here. And again, we've done our very, very best to picture these sows and represent them as naturally as we can. We've videoed them, and then we've provided as much evidence as to their proven ability as we can here in the catalog. Lot 23 would be the mother of my favorite pig that we had last winter. He was reserve brand at the Breeders' Cup. That was a pig that Caleb Zook showed. Phenomenal show bearer. This sow has done it time and time again. And if Mick and Jim, and I know folks over here today, if you saw this sow and couldn't appreciate the size of her hind leg, the way that she uses it, the way she's built, the way she looks, then you probably don't appreciate the same kind of livestock I do.
No, I'm not going to add a lot to it, but she's ultra impressive. You want to talk about density and rib shape and body shape and composition, big set of bones, and it's not always easy to put a big set of bones to make the leg flex the way it's supposed to and keep a clean joint without getting them crusty looking. And she does all that very, very well. Looks like a breeding piece to me.
And the one thing I will say about that rear leg, and I feel like I learned this from listening to Kirk Swanson. When the bone craze was really kind of coming to light and hillbilly bone was popular and folks were chasing bone Mick and they were running all over the country trying to find the biggest legged animals, there was a lot of emphasis placed on just how big that leg looked from the side. And folks wanted that leg to look big. They wanted it to look wide. They wanted that circumference. But Kirk used to always preach to me. He said, you don't have a truly heavy structured one until you can see that same circumference when you get behind them. And, I think that's important to note because this sow is backed by a wedding night sow that came from none other than Kirk Swanson. And, I made some comments there in the footnotes that her bone is real, and I can tell you exactly where it came from, and it came from those 2 or 3 generations on the bottom side of her pedigree. So pay attention there. That's a sure thing. She's mated surely, and feel really good about that one. As you turn the page there, 236.7, she's a litter mate to the sow that I've referenced as my favorite for some time now. We've got a pair of tremendous black sows, lot 25 and 26. Both of those sows really represent quality. They're the right kind. I think we've got them mated the right way, and I think both of those represent a really good opportunity for ROI. Then you turn to lot 27, and that's the red-belted sow. She's a spring chicken. She looks very youthful. Still looks like she's got a lot of life in her, and she is the mother of the Reserve Grand Barrow in Columbus a couple summers ago for the Foster crew. The sow's done an awesome job, and I told somebody here this afternoon, that barrow was very good. That litter was very good. In fact, we've got a couple sows in production, mates to him. I'm pretty sure the True Firm there in Indiana has a sow that had a very good litter for them this fall. Karl's shaking his head. She was a litter mate to that barrow, so a direct daughter of this sow. That litter was really good, but her absolute litter that we sold this fall was tremendous. And then we've got her bred to move the needle, and I think that will even be better based on what we saw. So don't sleep on that one. Really, really neat young sow. 28, 29, really all the way across that centerfold there, all four of those belted sows. Just generally speaking, I would tell you they represent our kind. They represent the kind of females that we believe in, the kind of females that work for us. All four of those, as I look across the page, none of those were show gilts. Those were all females that grew up at our slat barn off-site. They came back to the farm. They went to work. They've done a good job. We've done the hard part for you. And what I mean by that, farrowing gilts is no picnic. There's, the average gilt farrowing experience is not fun. And I know a lot of folks have asked us over and over again why we typically only offer sows. And that's to your benefit, the buyer. That is to your benefit. We are not selling problems. We are trying to sell you a solution because farrowing gilts is hard. It's tough. We had one farrow outside this morning that was 3 days early, Mick. We had one that was induced to farrow today that decided to go yesterday, last night. And then we had two that were induced for today that did their job, Kevin. So I feel like we were 2 for 4. That's 50% in case you're keeping track, and that's about average. So there's nothing easy about farrowing gilts, and I do want to emphasize that we're offering you an easier way here with some of these sows, and our consigners did the same.
Well, these sows are, most of these sows, now all of these sows in the offering have had from like 2 to 5 or 6 parities. They wouldn't be here that long if they didn't have some value.
No.
They've obviously, they've seen the good in these sows, what they can do. They're raising their pigs. They're having pigs that are high quality, pigs that they can sell for show pigs, pigs that they can keep gilts and stuff out of these litters. So, they're not, you don't have the opportunity. You're not just buying sows that they're just not going to haul off to market. These are sows that they still have a very strong belief can make better livestock, and that's why you're going to get the opportunity to buy some of them tonight.
I started getting experience with bred female sales with my association with Brent and the High Point crew back in the day. And it always amazed me that, and this still rings true today, that the average buyer in a bred female situation, Jim, is still more concerned with service sire and due date than they are the female. And to that end, I just want to spend a little bit of time here on some of these boars that service these sows. Absolute, first of all, is a boar that we put as much faith in as we have any particular sire, and at any point in our history. We had over 100 litters of those pigs this summer. We sold several there in our summer built the brand sale. We used him just as much again this fall, if you can believe that. And I still believe in him as much as I did then as I do now, or as much as I do now as I did then. And I feel really good about where we're at with that boar, not just because the barrows were good, not just because the boar prospects are good that we retain, but because I think our sow herd will be better down the road because of him, and I think that's a very important thing. So just know that when you see his service on these sows, that's a good thing. The move the needle thing, if I had one error or redo on move the needle, it would have been breed more sows to him, because the right kind of sow, he did move the needle probably more than any of them. And then lastly, I will tell you that 2 nights ago I notched our oldest then and now pigs, and I am very, very, very pumped about those. I know Karl was in there a couple days before me, and I think he even told Boots that he was pretty pumped up about those pigs. They are as boxy, proportional, heavy structured appearing as it gets for baby pigs in the crate, and I try very hard not to get too excited, but those look very promising. And I think we're going to be in a very good spot with that boar going forward. So we do own that boar with Team Sloan, Hilty Show Pigs, and the Hoff Schulte crew. We did not sell semen on him. We did offer a couple doses in the exchange, and then all of us as consigners have sold some semen here and there. So access to him has been extremely limited, and there are a couple chances in this sale to buy a litter out of him. And then lastly, I will make a comment about Kingpin before we get into the consignor lots. We could talk probably for an hour on Facebook about Kingpin, his legacy, what he's meant for our program, what he's meant for the program of so many others. And as a sire, as a first-generation sire, he did a lot of good things. I mean, heck, he sired Mick. He sired the Reserve Grand Bear at San Antonio in 2020. But today, everybody recognizes Kingpin for his daughters and their ability to regenerate, their ability to compound the good traits, their ability to transmit the good traits, their ability to do the right things as sows and females. Their skeleton allows them to do that. They're comfortable. They're flexible. They're built right. And you're going to see a lot of repetitive words in these footnotes relative to how I describe Kingpin and his daughters. But they are absolutely phenomenal. They're not going to be here forever. But I would tell you that the way they're built and the way they generate, they've been very timeless for not just us, but for so many others. So take note of the Kingpin females. Take note of that opportunity. Take note of the chance to get one in your operation. Put her to work. Keep the daughters. Build on it. Compound it. Make it work for you and make it last because it is worth a lot. And with that, Mick, let's turn to Lot 101. And let's talk about a few of these consignor lots. We've got JD up here first. And speaking of Kingpin, JD's consigning a really neat Kingpin sow. In true JD fashion, JD's has been a great consigner for this sale over the years. He sold a very good one last year. This one's backed by a Dirty Secret sow on the bottom side. She's bred to Shame on Me there at Moyers. I think JD brought a great consignment here for the sale. That's Lot 101. Lot 102, and again, we've got another Kingpin daughter, and I know the catalog has her pedigree wrong here. She's bred to Absolute, but her pedigree is actually Kingpin, Never Before Best Man. And Evan does a great job of detailing that sow, detailing her accomplishments. That sow's done a phenomenal job for him. She's young. She's very young, but still very accomplished, and she's bred to Absolute due the 7th of January. I think that's a tremendous opportunity, again, to own a Kingpin female, Jim. Jump in. The water's still pretty warm there, and I think there's a lot of upside to that one. Lot 103, John Mollett has been a tremendous customer for our program the last couple of years. John's been here for the sow sale multiple times. He's been a buyer. He's been a customer. He's been a big supporter. And, I really appreciate John because he's always very thankful. He's always very gracious, and he always does a very good job of giving me feedback. He and Mr. Heron both stopped me at perfect timing to tell me that the blue sow they bought in the sow sale this summer, she was a Wags that was bred to Absolute. I think she had 12. I think their leadoff or their consignment leadoff at Holy Smoke at Major League, help me, Karl, if I'm wrong here. I think 3 sales, or I think even 4 because they had one at perfect timing. All of those pigs were out of that litter. The Coba sale, there it is. All of those pigs are out of that litter, and a tremendous testament to the offering that we had there this summer and the chance for folks to really buy females that are bred for their success. So appreciate John, and again, he's got a direct daughter, the Little Bro Tier 1 sow that obviously has been not just influential for his program, but has been paramount for the pig business. Yes. If you consider the boars that she's generated and their influence on our industry, it's incredible. Lot 104, that's a Lackey consignment. Jason and I we've shared a lot of genetics over the years. Obviously, we use Dirty Secret very heavily, and then as soon as we had some sons out of him, Jason was quick to tap into those. And, beyond that, Cookie came along, and that was a white boar that he tied into, I believe, with McCoy and a couple others, and put him to work. And this sow, Jason's very confident and very high on the sow. She's got the Cookie influence on the bottom. They had several winners out of Cookie there when he was in his heyday, and this sow is one that Jason's very confident in her. I know he was very fond of his CC76 sired pigs this fall, and he's got a lot of confidence in this sow and this mating. I do want to point out she is due early. She's due the 12th of November, so be paying attention to due dates. In fact, we've got a cricket sow that I probably should mention is due the 10th of November. For the guys that saw her today, she's going to need a farrowing crate. In fact, Don, you may want to try to get her home just as quick as you can if you're going to get her farrowed, because she's she's going to have pigs here this week. And I think Jason's sow here, we need to make sure that folks understand she needs to be on the move right away. But a great opportunity here to tie into the Lackey program that's obviously been very successful in our industry. And she's bred to CC76, a boar there in their program. Next up is 45-7. This is a no introduction. Speaking of the mullet influence, this is a no introduction daughter that was actually bred here. The CC bunch, CNC bunch, Austin Craig and Copeland, they bought this female. She's done a tremendous job for them. I reached out to the full-time pig farmer, Slim, and the full-time pig farmer, he said no. And then it was kind of a hard no. And then it was, well, maybe I can convince Copeland to sell an open gilt. And then it was, well, he said, really the only thing that I think is really good and that has enough value and can really fit in is a sow that we were waiting to breed. Can we do that? And I said, well, yeah. I said, as long as she's not like a chronic non-breeder. And this sow was waiting to breed for a mid-February litter. And when they made the decision, they elected not to breed her and to put her in here open. So she does sell open. This is a no intro out of Curly's mom. And I will tell you that Curly's mom was the heaviest bone blue sow that we had here on the farm. Her mother was the heaviest bone one we had before that. You're buying into a tremendous sow family here. So she does sell open, and she sells with 2 doses of slaps. That's the Quite Frankly boar that's at Colson. So you're going to get a chance to buy a sow that comes with semen, Mick. I think a really good opportunity for somebody that is still, trying to gather a really elite female and get in the driver's seat there with her. Next up is Kevin Rogers, and Kevin is another one that's been a tremendous supporter of our program. Started selling Kevin pigs when he was in, I believe, junior high school, maybe even younger than that. And Kevin has been a great friend to this point. And a couple things I want to point out. Number one, Lot 106 is the other open sow in the sale. This is a tremendous sow opportunity. She looks bred in her picture, but she's not. She's actually open. This is a direct daughter of Carol's mom. So this is a maternal sister to Carol. We've got a littermate sister to this one that will for sure be a highlight in the sow sale this summer. You can mark that down, Jim, that 237.9, her sister will be in the top 5 lots if she's still alive by June. And again, tremendous opportunity here. And I want to point out, Kevin, I know Kevin put this on Facebook. He didn't put it in his footnote, but Kevin's dad, Kevin Rogers, was also a dear friend, and this sow was one of the last ones that he bought with his dad when they traveled up here from Arizona. And I know she's always meant something to Kevin because of that, and I know this is going to be a hard one for him to sell. But from a quality standpoint and value, this is another tremendous female. He's also offering an open gilt that is a daughter of some of our very best sows. She's out of an 8-litter kingpin. We've got 5 of those on the farm. They would be litter mates to the champion cross gilt at Ohio State Fair for Bob Foster. So she's bred in the purple there. She's out of a tremendous sow. In fact, Kevin, when he was here this fall, picked up some absolutes out of that same sow and took back. So he's a big believer in the sow family. Have a chance to buy a tremendous open female there. Okay, last but not least, so we can wrap up here in a timely manner, I'm going to let Mick and Jim, before I get long-winded, I've already talked enough, just share a few thoughts on the open gilts, if you would. I'll let Jim go first because I think he saw them twice. But if you've got some random thoughts here on the open gilts, and then I'll wrap it up.
Yeah, again, I believe there's 10 open gilts, I believe, offered from the HH program here. And again, depth of quality is extremely good. I mean, they're high-end kind of females that have a generating kind of look out of their skull. Their bones and joints are so good. They're put together right. They're not too mature. They've got enough size. You can take them home and get them bred. A couple of them was in heat, I think, out there today. And Jesse alluded to it there a little bit ago that when you buy breds or whatever, that you're more concerned about just the due date or what it's bred to, not really the heritage of what that female is. And it couldn't be more backwards. And we're in a tremendous business and with a tremendous amount of talent of all ages, but sometimes have a tendency to get a little short-sighted. And just look at that first generation, and was that out of a $100,000 boar and a $30,000 sow, and it did take a good picture? Or look at the ear notches, and Jesse's got the ear notches of the mother and the grandmother and all the way back. That's sow families. And that's why these hogs function. That's why these hogs win. That's why everybody wants them, because he's not short-sighted, and he's actually taken a look about what sow families work, blending those things together. and drop back and punt if it's bad, and then you go again. I always said, that'll be my last comment, that this is not a business of of instant gratification. It is a game of perseverance, and he stood the test of time. He's not very old, but he's been in this thing a long time, and man, has he gotten a lot of things accomplished. So make sure to take time to look in tonight, and I'll hand this over to Mick.
As Jim alluded to there, it takes, this business isn't for everybody. You have to be patient. You have to be willing to make some mistakes. You have to be willing to understand that there's going to be some times that aren't as good as others, and there's, no matter how hard you try, some days just aren't going to be as easy as other days are. Talking about this set of open gilts, not only are the pedigrees and the general phenotype and everything in these gilts tremendous, and they can make hogs better. If you look down through there, a lot of these gilts are mates to barras and gilts that were very popular in the show ring. So not only has the Heimer crew done a tremendous job making good livestock for you here, but they're offering you some hogs that come from some litters that had some success in the show ring. You've got a built-in marketing tool in them right there. They always sell open gilts at this sale and the Built the Brand sale that they have in the summer. The success that people have had out of here with these open gilts is tremendous. You have the opportunity to buy the one you want to. You can breed her to the bore of your choosing, and you've got the opportunity, to make better livestock because you've got excellent females here to start with. These open gilts are good. I mean, we went through them there today, and I'd feel very confident telling you that anyone that fits in your price range, that if you have an opportunity to buy her, you can make better livestock with them. That's a tremendous set of open gilts out there, and along with the Rogers crossbred gilt and then the Savage purebred Hampshire gilt that you add to them, there's an opportunity here today to not only buy bred females that you can make your hogs better with, but these open females have a chance also. So, Jesse, thank you. I will let you finish up here.
Thanks, Mick, and thanks, Jim. And I just want to reiterate a couple things here on the open female approach. So between now and breeding season starts when, Jim? February 1st, 10th February? All the time, he says. The opportunities to buy open females between now and when some of you are going to start breeding won't be as plentiful as it is in the summer. In the summer, I would argue you've got lots of chances to buy open females, and these I want to emphasize the fact that these are not coming out of a show. These have been conditioned to breed. You're gonna be able to get them home, get them transitioned, and get right to work with them. And I think that presents a great opportunity to do that in a timely fashion. They are backed by some show ring success. They are backed by our sow herd and our program, and I really think they represent a lot of uniqueness. And I know Mick has twice now said that he doesn't like that word. Careful there, big fella.
I use it a lot.
He uses it a lot, but he doesn't like using it. But they are different. And Jim, I think what we try to do, and I think you'll agree with this, a lot of the sows, I think over time, they look the same. They look because we like a certain kind, and they tend to sift themselves to that kind as they get older. But these gilts really represent a lot of diversity in phenotype. They're not all the same. They are different. They're bred different. They look different. There's different kinds in here. And I think that is a big testament to what they are. And not to pick out individuals, I asked Jim if he had a favorite, and 21-7 came to mind really quick, and he mentioned that he felt like she represented the same kind of upper-level quality as the 54-litter gilt did this summer. That was the top seller. If you're into bone, 21-7 has a gigantic rear leg, and I can't even tell you. You've got to see her to believe it. We tried to picture her twice and probably never did capture the picture that really represents just how unique she is, but that one's incredible. We're going to offer a pair, the Lot 201 and Lot 2, I never remember these lot numbers, Lot 201 and Lot 210. They effectively come from that same sow family. And so I want to point out that if you look at the sale order and you see the black box, there's a bold black box around several double lots. Basically what that means is when we get to those lots, they're going to be choiced. And so Don R. Smith's offering 112A and B is the only situation where you can only buy one. But Colonel, on all the other ones, we're just going to offer choice. and privilege, and then the next bidder will get the chance for the other one. So, but we are going to pair those up, and so in this instance, lot 201 or 210, you'll have the choice on which one you want to buy first, or if you're a wise investor, Jim, you might just take them both. So, you know, in the past, we've done some Siemens specials, and we've talked about some things. We really didn't print any of that. I would tell you that of late, we've done a poor job of being in the Siemens business. We do a great job of collecting boards to get our sows bred, and we do a really poor job of collecting boards to work with the customer. And Jim's laughing. Yeah, he offered today, but he doesn't want to stick around forever, I don't think. I think Amanda would have a problem with that. But anyway, we're very excited about the offering. Really appreciate the interest. Thank you for tuning in. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Karl, Boots, Wade's even here, and Wade knows these pigs. He should know these pigs. Todd Kennedy, Mickey Bellamy, Jim McCoy are all here. As I mentioned, Don R. Smith has been through them 74 times today, and he can give you a very thorough overview of the offering. We have Colonel Kevin Wynn on the block tonight. Excited to hear his thoughts, and we look forward to a great auction. We're going to start at 7 p.m. Central Time, so tune back in a few more minutes before that, and we'll get started with an auction tonight. Thanks for your attention. Reach out with questions. We'll see you later. Todd says we're still on TV. We got to get our tech guy back in here, or IT guy, RT guy.